Hello, mechanics, and Merry Christmas. Today, I decided to release a second version of my backgrounds tutorial video. It's been a while since I released the last one, and since the future of Gamestar Mechanic is a little turbulent, they're going to release a new version, and the app that they released was a kind of like a quick fix for Flash Player disappearing, but clearly they have bigger plans, and I truly don't know what will be. What will happen. I don't know if all the games that we currently have now will transfer over, etc., etc. But in light of this, I decided to release two games to kind of, say goodbye to this platform if it does end up going. Of course, we'll still have the app, but before the year ends and before all these changes, I decided to release Jump Madness Atroth, which is currently pending as of this video. It'll probably be released by the time you see this. And the second one is Detective Christmas. Now, this one is going to be late because I kind of miscalculated the arrival of Christmas. I am someone who celebrates New Year's. So when I saw that it was Christmas, I was like, damn it. I kind of promised that I would release this game before the holidays, but I didn't get the chance. So I decided to do it now, better late than never. I'm not going to wait another year because who knows what'll happen. So I'm going to try my best and release this. It might be late for Christmas since, if I make it today and it's going to go pending and it's going to take some time. But before New Year's, it should be out, which should still make it, which should still be in time for, the holiday break week, I guess. But the purpose of this video is not to go through the entire development of the game because I still have a lot of plans to make with regard to that. But I will do kind of like an overview of the parts where I work on the background to in order to show you how to do that. Now, I will be using a program called Photoshop right here, and this costs money, so that is why, you know, I don't expect everybody to be able to have this program, so this tutorial it's not really meant for everyone. Like I didn't make this tutorial to try and, find a free method for everybody to make backgrounds, but there are alternatives like Pixlr, which if you search it, it is pretty much the exact same thing where you can open any image and basically create something similar. So the editors look pretty much identical, as you can see, very similar setup, and layers are all here, and you can work with this pixel art editor the same way you would with Photoshop. Of course, there are going to be some limitations, and it's going to be, it's going to be a little more limited than Photoshop, but still, everything that you would want to achieve would probably be doable in pixel art. So that's the alternative. All right, with that being said, I currently don't have a plan for this level. This is going to be the actual level where the main detective work happens, the main chunk of the game. And so in order to make this level, I started with this house because that's kind of, you know, where you start. This is like the starter house because there's a backstory in the first two levels, but I don't want to spoil it in the video. But basically, this is the house you start with, and there's going to be some kind of town, and the idea you're supposed to solve a mystery. Now, as you can see, this is an empty level, so the first thing I like to do is to click play, pause, level map, if you have that. Everybody should have all the packs now, I believe, so level map should be accessible by everybody. So you do the level map. I already did it, so it's in this section. And the next thing you do is you save this image. So I right-click it, I save image as, and right here I have my folder of all Gamestar mechanic things. And I'm going to drop it right into Detective Christmas, and I'm going to call this level plan, I guess. And from here, what I like to do is I like to get into Photoshop with this blank image. It's going to load up. And from here, I create a brand new layer, and I like to plan everything. So I know the size of the blocks, so I can approximately know how big each screen will be and how the proportions of each building, so that it works. So that it looks well and that it works well with the game. So I'm going to choose a bright white color, a bigger brush. Maybe let's take a brush that is approximately the size of these blocks. This way when I draw, it actually looks like. So it actually matches like the block grid. Now, the only issue with this right now is that there is no grid, and not having a grid makes it very difficult to determine like where the blocks are going to be, because I could easily draw a box here, but that may not be with the grid. So in order to do this, I'm probably going to make myself some lines. So I'm going to take one of these tiles from this background, and I'm going to use it to measure out some lines. So let's see if we can do that. So, okay, so if I go ahead and select a rough box, so this is the full glass. This is how it looks like. This is the size of a Gamestar mechanic block. Yeah, it fits perfectly. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to make a new layer, color this in, and we'll never lose it. This is the size of a block, and with that, I can now start making these lines, which are going to be 1 pixel or 2 pixels wide, and I'll make them on the interior of this block, which means I'm going to get this little edge right here. Edge, we need 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 shifts to the left. That's a block. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And then I could just copy paste this grid. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. And take all these. Put them in any others. What is this layer? Oh, that's also fine. Yeah, I usually practice any layers. So I'm not sure there's lines. There's grid. And this is my box. Responsible block. Sample. I'm going to measure that block and take these lines out. This is so tricky. That's weird. That was tricky. Right. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, this is actually going to make a little more. I don't know these lines. We'll make it a little more transparent. Wait, I should go by it. Make sure they don't lose the grid. Because this one of these lines is pixel off. It won't be a big deal, I guess, but it could make 1, 2, 3, 4. Make everything kind of, what do you call it? Shift and be accurate. My actually learning like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I need about 3, 4 more. 5. That was good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so this is our horizontal. Yeah, these are our horizontal lines. So now I can just merge all these layers into one, copy it over, and do one of these nice 90-degree rotations. Take it all the way to the left and expand it all the way to the right. Okay, we have a grid. Great. Now all we need to do. Oh, this grid is not lined up, which is fine. What's not fine is the fact that it keeps on. Damn it. Why? Photoshop has never done this before to me. Now it's just being annoying. Alright, here we go. Everything's lined up now. Now all we need to do is merge these layers and make them slightly more transparent. Maybe color them blue, make them darker gray, with a light blue, just like in Gamestar Mechanic, like one of these, and make it transparent. So now this grid is here. We can see exactly where things would go, and we don't have to worry about our eyes dying. So here we go. So now I'm going to make this a little more transparent. Now I could plan things out. So I can draw my buildings where I want them, and just do a rough sketch of how I want the city to look like. Now this is the part where I'm probably going to take a moment and think through where I want my game to go, because I mean, this is a background video, but obviously in order to make a background you need a level, and in order to make a level you need a plan. So that's why I'm going to take a little pause, and I will see you again. Alright, mechanics, we are back now, and I have just finished planning the level, and I wrote out all the characters, all their actions, and basically I have the whole game set up. Now, as you can see, I planned the entire town the way I want it. So we're gonna have from this entrance house, right? It's gonna be a road. These kind of like lines are the roads, the thick ones. And then we're gonna have a few houses here going on the sides, and this center area where the crime happened. And yeah, and this box, this big box in the top right with the teleporter, that's sort of going to be like the end game area where you can guess who committed the crime. Now, I am going to expand the screen size for the game, and the reason for that is because the buildings are small, and I actually want to have like conversation trees. So like, let's say you go up to somebody in their building and you want to talk to them, there's going to be a whole conversation system. So that will be on the sides, that'll be off screen. But this is the main game, and this is all we need right now to actually build the visuals for the town. And everything else I'll do off camera. Obviously, this video is just for the backgrounds. So I'm going to save this image now. So once you're done with the plan, you save the image as a PNG. I'm actually also going to save it as a Photoshop file. Yep, like that. Saved it. Now I'm going to save it as I guess a JPEG would do. What is it? And then we could just overwrite that old file. And now, there we have it. Our plan is right here. And all I have to do now is go to my game. I'm going to hit save. All right, there we go. All right, any day now, and we're good. Okay, so the next step is going to be to load up that plan. I'm going to choose the file, upload it. And now we're going to make sure that it is parallax locked, and there we have it. Look, our plan is right here. Now, it's just a matter of choosing what blocks we want to use for this. So, the idea with this house is maybe I'll have it bricks. And it'll be bricks on the side as well. And then this part will be a driveway, sort of, so I'll make a fence here. And the fence will be made out of logs. This kind of looks like a cool fence. And then we'll have a nice little patch of grass back here. And this will be their driveway where, where they'll have their car. This right here is supposed to be a market. So a market is going to have, let's see, it's important to have block variety. You don't want to have the same block over and over again because then it's going to look ugly. So we're going to want to make sure we add variety. I'm going to add a doorway. If you set these spawners to 0, they actually look really nice as doorways into houses. And I'll add some windows, maybe one here in the front, one on this side next to the driveway, one here, a little bit asymmetrical. And there we go, it looks relatively nice. Nice enough. And I'm actually not going to go through each building. I'll just time-lapse this. I'll make it fast, because otherwise this video is going to take forever. Back. So as you can see, or as you saw by the time lapse, we have built the entire town. We have our starter house, this brick house that we made, the market, this little area which is still in the works, these houses down here, the center area, the police station, and also some more houses with driveways and all of that. So now once the level is done, this is now going to be the actual background making part. So you click play, pause, level map again. It's going to generate the map and I'm going to view it. Right there. Okay. So now this one we're also going to save, except this one now is going to be called level. I'll just call it level for now. And now going back to the folder, if you notice, they're actually very similar to each other. That's because I followed the template. So it's actually really cool to see how it came along from the plan all the way through. Yeah, you can actually see like the before and after picture of how it looked like with the plan and how it looks like now. So it's perfect, exactly as intended. Now The next step is I'm probably going to copy this road layer over to here. Can I do that? I'm not sure if I can do that. I could drag it over though, just like this. Yeah. The reason I want this is because the roads are going to be part of the background, and I want to make sure that I put them in the right spots. So I want to put the road back where it was. Okay, so now that this is all planned, it is now time to remove the black part of the background, which I don't know if... So in Photoshop, this is done with a simple selection tool, which allows you to select all the black, and boom. Now we have a clear background to work with, which allows us to... I guess we could do it a little better. And that will allow us to put stuff in the background and actually... so now we're looking good. The blocks are not cut off. Maybe the wood is a little bit cut off, but that doesn't really matter to us. It's just, all that's important is that the blocks are visible and that we can see where we're putting the items. So now it's time to plan out how this is going to go. So I am going to, now this depends on the project, of course. This depends on how you want your project to look like, what it is, so on and so forth. Also, I forgot to remove these blocks, but they are going to be gone, so I'm just going to delete them. So this is what we're looking like, and time to think. Alright, so looking at this, I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the road, since it's the frontmost item and it's going to stand out the most. Starting with it is probably the best approach here. So I'm going to go on Google. I just searched up road texture a moment ago, and I'm going to take one of these concrete textures, or not concrete, what is it? I don't know. I don't know what this material is called. And I am, well, without dragging the road itself, I'm going to move them . And now I'm going to take this approach where I erase the road on the sides, and I'm just going to leave the road where it needs to be. And here we have it, a nice looking road completed. And now with this, we can now add maybe some lines, but I think that this is sufficient. Road stop text. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. Yeah, something like this, which I could put on the road. To make it look nice and realistic. So here we go, we'll just add like that. Roughly 90 degrees. Make it a little smaller. Alright, and usually there's like a horizontal line going across right after that happens, so something like that. Yeah, perfect. I could probably work with this. Take this image, isolate the line over here, which is what we're looking for. And now just working with this line, maybe we could just select this color range and remove everything but the white. And here we go. Alright, now it's perfect. Scale it down. Rotate it 90-ish. Make it a little wider. Slap it right in front of that stop sign. And maybe the stop sign needs a little bit of wear and tear. It looks a little too nice. You could take one of these erasers that has this uneven brush, take a low opacity, and do a couple of dabs like that of the brush. And then we have something that looks like it's blending with the road almost. So just copy pasting that up over here. And we're golden. Okay, so our road's done. I'm going to go ahead and package this into a group called road. And I don't need this plan anymore, and this is our first stage. Now, this whole thing right here, down here, was intended to be like a parking lot almost. So I'm going to add lines. Does look a little off, strangely. We could always go to our other plan and use this grid. I think it's worth transferring the grid over because the grid would actually be very helpful towards figuring out where everything is. But now I just got to line it up properly because this grid is huge. And I think the right lineup is right here. That's it. Yep. Okay. So now this grid can hang out above everything else. And looking at these lines, yeah, we're close. I guess we actually got it right. It's just that it seems there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 spaces, which makes it uneven. So I think what I'll do is I'll just add another layer of grass down here. So if I just go back to our actual level and make the two changes. First of all, I wanted to remove this wall right here. And here I would add another line like that. And we would be golden with our current parking situation. Now we have that. Now it's time to determine what the overall background will be, because right now we're working with the road. What is the rest of it going to be? So I'm going to go for grass. And I don't want anything too detailed here because I want to make it a little bit cartoony. So I almost want to grab one of these and do a filter on it. So let's see. But I like this one because it has a lot of variety color-wise. And if we just simply remove this little watermark, credit to Shutterstock, of course. Although, and if we zoom in, this is huge. I mean, these blades of grass almost look like as tall as your character. So we're going to make this smaller, way smaller. And I'm going to add a lot of them, right? So I'm going to copy paste one. And it looks like we're good. It looks like we have a nice grass texture going, which fills the entire screen. It looks repetitive, but again, after we filter it, it should be no problem. So I'm going to go to filter, filter gallery, and it's going to load for a bit, but let's see if we do cutout. All right, well, this looks a little sharp. I don't really like how it looks like. I don't know. Maybe dry brush is better. Dry brush is also a little bit. Unfortunately, none of these filters look good. I mean, I usually go with cutout or dry brush. If I increase this max, I guess this looks kind of nice. Let's try it. All right, I'm fine with this. I mean, it's grass. It looks fine. Now, what I'm gonna do is the road is not blended well with uh with the grass. So I'm gonna give it one of those erasers with a high size brush and one of these kind of spotted erasers. This way I can just, well, I definitely don't want to remove the entire road, so maybe a little bit smaller, higher opacity, lower size, and alright, I think this looks good. It's not really noticeable. I mean, it is, but it's subtle enough that it creates almost the effect I want. It's not perfect, but it does make it look blend. It does make it look like it's blended with the grass a little better. So, okay, road's done. We have grass. Now it's time to make the houses because obviously we don't want grass to be inside the houses. Now, so maybe for this brick house, we'll have wooden planks. So I like to just search that up, find a plank texture that I like. This one looks nice, why not? And bring it over the grass, resize it a little bit, and there we go, house has planks. And I'll remove the grid for now. And I think that we could put the same texture in some more houses and get away with it. And perfect with that, our flooring is done. Now I'm going to make the driveways because there's a lot of driveways here and each driveway has to have its own texture because we can't have a grass driveway obviously. So I'm going to search up sidewalk or maybe concrete slab texture. And I want something that kind of not quite, none of these seem to be what I'm looking for. Yeah, I guess more or less this one looks like what I need right here. So maybe I will take this one. Let's try it. If I just give it a 90-degree rotate, the cracks, they're less noticeable, but I think that's what it looks like. That's what it would look like when I imagine a driveway. So I'll keep it this way, and I'll do my little edge trick to remove. Let's see, make sure the opacity is fully up to make it authentically fade in to the rest. That just looks like I took a big bite at the front of the driveway. Let me remove that real quick and see if I can fix that up a little better. Oh, not that far. Step forward. Go back. There we go. It's almost like I want the grass to be peeking over. You know what? I have an idea for that. The idea that I have is going to be tricky, of course. If I move this over the driveway, the floor is going to go up, everything's going to be above, but this driveway is going to be below. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal the driveway over here like this. Oh, not like that, like this. Or even better, like this. Perfect. Now we have a driveway here, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this nice tool called the smudge tool. I'll make a small brush, and I'm going to have the grass kind of peek into the driveway, almost blend with it. It's going to take a little bit of effort because to make it look authentic, the blades of grass need to be small. But I think we can get away with a 2-brush. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Maybe even a 3-brush. Yeah, definitely. And this kind of almost creates that feel. And it looks like there's actual grass growing into the driveway. I like it. Yeah, that looks nice. That looks authentic. Alright, so now the only thing that's left is to copy paste this driveway over to all the other driveways. Alright, so we're getting very close to being done. I actually do want to do one more thing with these driveways. I want to go ahead and I'm going to merge them and I'm going to change their coloration. So instead of having them be this kind of like bright gray, I'm going to saturate them with something. We're going to experiment. Let's see what works. Alright, I guess not that. Let's see. I don't know. I almost... Yeah. Yeah, this looks nice. Because now the driveways, they look just a little more authentic. They have that darker feel to them, almost like it's blending with the road. I like it. I like it. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is do the center right here. Or actually, before I do that, let me do the backyard over here because this backyard is not gonna look like that. It's gonna look too, I don't know, dirt backyard texture. Now, I actually just realized something just now, literally, that this is supposed to be snowy. The scene is supposed to be snowy, and I have not made anything snow themed yet, so I think I'll actually have to go back and add a snow overlay of some sort that will make the grass look snowy. Yeah, I should have thought of that first, but I forgot. Pardon me on that. This is Christmas. It has to be snowy. Alright, the center here is most definitely not going to look grassy. It might towards, whoa, what is that? Let's make sure we have full opacity. Okay. I'm thinking, now what do we want in the center? Well, I want some kind of mulch because that's where the tree that means I'm giving away the story. The tree got stolen. That's the whole detective Christmas storyline. The tree got stolen. I keep spelling texture wrong, and that's not how you spell mulch. Well, hey, I've never had to spell mulch in a sentence. Don't blame me. Alright, this looks nice. I'm gonna take this. Oh, that's OBS. I'm going to Photoshop. Drop it in. Remove the edges with a nice light brush with a high hardness. That has a little bit of blend. Oh, we don't want grass to peek through, that's for sure, so be a little careful about this. Make sure we just kind of edge it out like that. Maybe a little grass won't kill you. Okay. There we go. Now, I do want to cartoonify this actually. And the main reason for that is because, yeah, for sure. That looks good. And I do want to color overlay it somehow. I want to make it look darker. But not quite like this. I don't know. I don't know what I quite want here. Maybe if I just leave it somewhat like this will be fine. But I want it to have a shadow. I want it to look like a hill. Right now this looks really flat. But if I go ahead and maybe give it the way I usually do shadows is I take a brush with very little hardness. I give it a black color with low transparency. And I kind of go over the edges where I want the shadow to be. So I kind of want to make it look like it's a pyramid almost. Not a pyramid, but yeah, let's see. That. And on the very edges, more darkness. And now I'm just going to use an eraser to clean up. Or maybe I won't use an eraser. Maybe I'll use one of these lasso tools, convenient lasso tools, to just go around and select every piece of shadow that is not needed, which is pretty much all of this. And then I'm going to select it around like that. And I'm going to delete it. So now this looks more like a hill. You can see that the shadows are prominent. If I duplicate the shadows, that looks way too strong. But this looks fine. Now I just need one of those tree stumps in the middle. Because we could just go with this one. Oh. Bring me back. Oh. We went all the way there. Okay. I'm going to delete. It has a little white on the edges. But I think if we just slap it in the center, just like this. I think that it's not noticeable enough, so I'll give it an outer stroke that is a darker brown color, a very deep brown. Something like that. It needs to be deeper, that's for sure. But that's way too strong. it needs to be that color. So instead of having black here, I'm going to add a roof. So maybe sheet roof texture. Yeah, this looks nice right here. Very even, doesn't look rusty and old. It looks perfect. So I'm going to take it over here and wow, this is a huge image. Lower it down. And I'm going to make it the roof of this house. Just like that. For this garage, maybe it'll have a triangular roof. Maybe it'll have a similar roof, but a roof texture. Let's see if we find something desirable. All right, this looks nice. Shingle, gray shingle roof. If we go ahead and take this over here, if I make it smaller, now here's the tricky part. I want to make this two-sided. So I am going to have to duplicate it, rotate it around 180. Slap it on the opposite side, which is all fine. But now comes the hard part where it needs to be shaded. One side needs to look darker than the other. Otherwise, it's not going to look like there's an angle to it. And although this isn't perfect, I don't really like how this looks. It does create that effect. If you zoom out and you like believe it enough, it does look like it's two sides of it. The only thing that I think is causing the illusion break is this unevenness. But also the sharp edge, I think, causes it as well. Maybe if I give it, go a little bit over, put this one under this one, and give this one a nice small erase down like that with low hardness. Like that, just a brief erase so that there's texture blending. Maybe bring this one back. I guess Alright. I think this is gonna be fine. Yeah. Yeah, this creates a little bit more. Now looking at it, it actually looks a little more realistic with regards to looking like a roof. Maybe I'll make it a little less dark. Yeah, I think that does it. So we have our roofs. Now the next thing that we need to do is add the snow. Geez, I almost forgot about that. Snow texture. Now this is gonna be where it gets tough because now we have this issue. Because snow needs to cover the entire world, and we have a huge world, and it has no snow, so this is going to be work. Now I just need to find a snow texture that looks good, and that can connect with each other. I think this one looks nice. Let's bring this one in. All right, now the next step is I'm going to go for some shadow work. And this will simply be me just going over with some shadows. So I'm going to increase the opacity. And these shadows, they're going to go on the edges of buildings. Maybe a smaller brush, higher opacity. Yeah, something like this. And these shadows on the edges of the buildings, they're just going to add a very nice feel to the game. They're just going to make everything look just a little more realistic. Now I definitely want this a little smaller on the interior. If we look here, it immediately starts looking a lot better when you have that shadow effect. So just make it to the police station with this thing. Now, the only thing that's left now is the background is done for the most part, but what I wanted to do is add cars to the driveway, maybe add some skid marks for evidence. I had a plan for this whole thing. So, and some needles here where the tree was being stolen and stuff like that. So that's just some extra detail, but the cars I'm definitely going to add. So currently, there's a couple of cars that are being suspected. Oh, what happened to our parking lot again? Something happened to our parking lot. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What? How did this happen? There they are. I thought they were gone for a second. Alright, so this is the part where I search up cars. Top view. Oh, that's perfect. It couldn't be any more perfect. I mean, look at this. I guess this is not a free picture, but I'm sure we'll find something here. But then these cars. Oh, if I just size it down, I do want it to be 2 blocks wide, but no more than that. Alright, this is good, I think. Wait. Let's remove the white background. And now I'm going to choose the cars I want to work with, I think, and I'll just stick to that. I do want to remove this little yellow bar area. Okay, very nice. There we go. Especially here. It's very prominent. Yeah, okay. So definitely this truck right here, I like it. We need it. Boom. Let's get this yellow car, orange, I mean, and this little, I don't know what that color is. Let's get this yellow car as well over here. And copy that over. Now, We have 4 cars. Should get a few more. Maybe these two will work. These two look nice. Just perfect for what I need. Need something that resembles a family car because, hey, you know, family. It's a neighborhood where families live. Okay, and this one. So now if I just delete these cars, we're left with separate layers for each one of these. So maybe this car is going to be parked in this driveway. That's perfect. That's actually perfect. Can't get any more perfect. The only downside of having the car as part of the background is that you can actually walk over it with your character, but I think as long as you don't do that, it'll keep the immersion and it should be fine. I'm just going to put these into their own layer. And I'm going to call, ooh, I didn't mean to merge them, I meant to group them. Cars. Now this pickup truck, we need this to be red. So for that, I'm going to color it with red. And now we're looking at a red looking pickup truck. I do want to add some lines to the back though. Because pickup trucks, you know how they have those lines in the back? Like those subtle kind of, I don't know what they're for. I guess they're to stop like things from rolling around too much. We could just add them, but I can't quite draw a straight line with by hand. It's a little tough. Come on. Yes. Yes. That was a perfect line. If I can just... Perfect. Now we got a car right here. Sorry, red pickup truck. That was a lot of effort to make the pickup truck red. Maybe I should have just gone with a green pickup truck instead, the way it was. Now this pickup truck is going to be in this parking space right here. We'll give it a little bit of a rotation, so it's not, not a great parking. Whoever was driving this, not perfect, not great at, not so good at parking. I can't English. Maybe this car is in this drive. Ooh, no, definitely not. Trying to squish it, but maybe this car lives in this driveway over here. And maybe this car over here. Maybe this car lives in this driveway. And these last two cars, well, maybe this one lives up here, you know? It could always live up here. Oh, jeez. That was a little bit crazy. This car needs to be made just a little smaller, I think. Yeah, just like that. And now this last car, which we haven't dealt with yet, maybe it lives in this driveway right here. Right up there. And now for each of these cars, I'm going to merge them. No, I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to merge the duplicated layers, and I'm going to move them outward, put them under, and color them black entirely. And you'll notice now that under each car, there's a shadow. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Now I'm going to apply our Gaussian filter to blur it, maybe just a little more like that. And I'm going to give it a low transparency, but slightly higher than I would for everything else. Now, we definitely don't want the shadows to intrude onto the walls of the house. So I'll just do a sharp cut of the shadow to remove it from the wall of this house like that. And same thing with the shadow. We don't want it to intrude on the wall of the house because the house is higher up than the car. So that needs to be removed. Although actually those are Gamestar mechanic blocks, so they're going to be above anyway. But looking at what we have here going, we have our cars, we have our town. Now all that's left is to add some evidence, so maybe some skid marks. Alright, back here we are, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some pine needles over towards this center area and just a brief set of skid marks right here. Now, even though the person who was stealing a tree probably wasn't rushing too fast, skid marks are going to give it a little bit more of an interesting aspect to this to the detective work. Alright, so I'm going to bring this image in, and I do need to do a little bit of not filter gallery, my bad. Tolerance 50? Okay, no. Wait, what? No, no, tolerance 100, how about that? And now select color range, we're going to remove this white. And we're just left with some nice looking pine needles. Now, I don't want to I want to kind of extract. Alright, we're in the cars. Needs to be another group, needles. I'll call this needles. And I want them to be small, very, very small, like this, literally. Alright, I think that's good. It's very subtle, but coming in you'll notice the needles there. Now the skid marks, very last thing. Okay, so here's a couple of skid mark overlays that we could use. This one looks nice. So I'm going to take this skid mark, I'm going to remove this white texture out of it. And maybe the person who was escaping here. Now, skid marks aren't always straight, certainly not. I do want this to match up with tire size, so I'm going to measure it up against the car. And it does beg to be a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller, and also, oh dear, I did not mean to do this. And see if we can line up two of them. Maybe even three. The more we have, the more length we could work with, the better. I'll just call this folder evidence. Okay. And now with these skid marks, we can lower their transparency. Add a second set. Merge the two sets. And maybe he rolled up right over here. And then he escaped in this direction. Perfect. Okay, but now these look unrealistic. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to see if I can transform it by distorting it. Not distorting it, my pardon. My bad. I'm going to warp it. And what warping allows me to do is to make these skid marks look twisted, and that's really helpful towards making them look nice and realistic. It allows us to give them a little bit of turn. Maybe the person was driving away and they... Ouch. Those unexpected sounds that Photoshop makes really jump scare me sometimes, to be honest. Alright, that's cool, right? So we have skid marks, and they are escaping into that neighborhood. Now, with skid marks, they usually kind of have a gradient, right? They appear, and then they kind of go away like that. So I'll add that aspect to it right there. And towards the beginning, they're usually a lot sharper. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take these skid marks, I'll duplicate them, but the duplicated version will be deleted a lot earlier, and I'll add a second duplicate here, and I'll merge these layers. Oh, no, not quite. Merge these 3 layers, and I'll ease up, and I'll do 2 more duplications. And that looks really good, because right now what we have is, it looks like they're like really sharp at the beginning, and they get a little lighter towards the end. And the last thing is to put it under the snow. That makes the pine needles almost invisible and the skid marks under the snow, which is perfect. But I am going to give the pine needles a little bit more prominence by duplicating the layer. And as you can see, they're a lot sharper now. You can see them. All right, pine needles, check. Skid marks, check. And this is our background. We're actually done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and remove the... Well, I'm going to bring back the grid and everything. And I'm going to first of all save this file because I definitely want to keep the background. Level BG. I'll save it. And now I'm going to get rid of the grid, get rid of that, and I'm going to save the background without the blocks in the front, because the blocks in the front are there for me to kind of like have a reference where everything is, but once we actually make the background is not going to have the blocks. So I'm going to save that, and we're going to return to Gamestar Mechanic now after this is done. Go to Settings, Custom Background, Add New, and we choose this one that we got right here, this new one. And hopefully Gamestar Mechanic will not be very mad at the file size. Let's try it. Alright, hope. Do not tell me that it's... Okay, perfect. Choose, locked, and what do you know? We have our town. If we click play, we can see that we can walk right onto the car. But hey, who cares? The car is still there, and it's nice. There we go. This looks like a roof. Going across. I am going to work with these grass blocks, maybe just a little bit. Let's get some snow going. Maybe like delete them partially and replace most of them with white snow to make it look like it's all covered in snow. That's good. And maybe just to make life a little more difficult. Because, you know, what's the fun if life is not difficult? I'm going to see if I could add some snow to the roads. Just some snow blocks here and there. Stray ones. You know? Because who knows what happens when it snows. I don't know, does this ruin it? It kind of does, no? Maybe controlled snow blocks. Maybe like snow... Huh. The driveway is all snowed in. And there's like blotches of snow on the edges. I think that could work. Maybe just not too much. But just in the right places. If you add some snow to the edges, snow blocks, it'll give it a nice effect like that. Maybe tone it down over here. Give it a little bit more over here on the edges and the inside, on the outside. Give it a little more snowy. A snowy feel. Yeah, I like that. That adds like this snowy, wintry feeling. Great. Alright. And almost done. Now, this is the part where I call it quits. Yeah. There's a lot more work to do with this game, of course, but so far, this is all that's there. This is all that's needed with regards to the backgrounds. So, yeah, this video was very long, longer than a lot of the videos that I make. I don't like to make long videos, but if you if you watch this video, I did cut out a lot of like the tedious and long repetitive parts. But yeah, this is approximately how long it takes me to make a typical background for a Gamestar mechanic game. So yeah, there we go, a day in the life of me when I'm making Gamestar mechanic, of course. Um, when I'm not, I'm doing a lot of other things. But yeah, this background took about 3 hours to make. And yeah, this is the kind of work I put into all of my games. So I'm really glad that it's paying off. I have some great followers who enjoy my games. I did take a long break, but I did want to release Detective Christmas. It is 11 p.m. right now. I don't know if I'll be able to release it on the day of Christmas, but hey, it'll be before New Year's, so that's fine. All right. If you have anything to ask, anything to say, put it in the comments. But hopefully hopefully this video helped kind of hopefully see how I work on these and maybe give you some insight into how you can improve your own backgrounds. But of course, not everybody can afford Photoshop. But like I said, there's that pixel art alternative that you could use all the time, anytime you want. It's free. And it may not have all the sophisticated tools that I was using up in this Photoshop up here, but it is definitely enough for you to be able to do a lot of things with it. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video here before it gets way too long, and I'll go to edit, start editing it, and hopefully post it soon. Bye.